Yeah, so I am Hayley. I my blog is Real Food with Altitude, and I have been doing that since 2020. So however long it is, for almost 5-ish years. I feel like the first couple of years I had no idea what I was doing. It was under a different name. I just like was doing it to fill time during COVID. Um, and then I realized like I wanted to take it more seriously. So I started like actually trying to work on it and still not really having an idea of what I was doing. And then I'd say in the last like year or year and a half, I finally started taking it like really seriously and like actually like putting like I put a lot of effort into it before, but like really learning like the ins and outs of blogging and like focusing more on like SEO and like the back end type of stuff, which has really helped me. And it I feel like that has also like sparked more motivation for me as well. So that
Yeah,
has been good the last like year or so.
yeah, good. And then we did an audit and coaching call a little earlier this year. So I guess what were your top like problems or frustrations before doing that?
Yeah, so before we had talked, I felt like I was just like really stuck, one in like my motivation because none of my views were like increasing at all. I just like was stuck. I feel like I was stuck at like 1,500 or 2,000-ish, if I remember correctly, like views a month or sessions or whatever a month. And I felt like I could never break through that, and I didn't really understand like ranking or like the importance of like all the back end stuff. And I feel like that was just like killing my motivation because I just felt like I was like spinning my wheels and not understanding like any of my back end stuff. And then I would do one thing and it would like kill the speed on my website. I would like do something else and it would ruin something else. So I just like felt like I didn't have a handle on like the back end of everything, which was um really why I reached out to you, was just like how to like set up like a process for myself and also like really start to understand the ins and outs of like plugins and things like that, of things I was actually using or actually needed on my website, because I feel like I had taken a couple courses and it just like wasn't great advice. And so I followed you for a little while and like felt like you really explained things well and like really like the things you were posting were like actually really helpful tips and tricks. And so I reached out and was like, I need help with a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah. So that was fun to connect with you. Like it's been awesome getting to know you and working with you.
Yes, same.
Um, yeah, so I guess if things like if you hadn't done the audit with me and things had stayed the same for you, how would that have affected your business and your personal life?
Yeah, I have a goal of, I want to blog full time, whether I leave my job or not. I would love to like monetize my blog, I guess is what I'm looking for. Um, and I felt like I was never gonna get there, which, like I said, it was burning me out. And so I felt like blogging like wasn't fun to me anymore. Like I wasn't seeing any growth or progress. And it was like it started as like a creative outlet for me, which it was, but then it was like frustrating also like to not see it grow at the same time. So I felt like it was burning out my creativity. And then, talking to you and like really getting a handle on things, I've seen a lot of growth. And I feel like that in the last couple months, that's really brought back like my motivation for blogging again and like actually wanting to cook. And I've had a big year with a lot of things. So that blogging, like I felt like it was a good time to like take a back seat and then really like dive into everything again. So, and I think diving in the last couple months and really like implementing, I think I told you the other day, I was like going through everything that we had talked about again, just to make sure that I really had like touched on everything that we talked about. And I feel like I've seen so much growth in the last few months, which has given me a lot more motivation to keep going with it. So I feel like, to answer your question, like I feel like I don't know if I would have kept blogging much longer. Like I really like it, but also it's frustrating to not see growth. So it's easy to like give up at a certain point. So I'm super glad that we talked and it like sparked more motivation in me.
Good. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that too. Are you okay with sharing kind of where you're at now versus before? I know you said you're like around 1.5 to 2,000 sessions.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it was, or maybe it was 2,500. It was somewhere in
Mhm.
there. And I right now at the end, I think I'm at 5,900 sessions. So I'm hoping at the end of this month I can be at 6,000 sessions. So I've more than like doubled my views. And like I said, I think we talked back in like May. So that I did a lot then, and then we got married and moved and bought and sold the house and honeymooned. And so there was a few months where I didn't do anything. So the last since like September, I really feel like is when I've it's really like doubled in my sessions, which has been exciting. Like I said, it seems like a long time since we've talked, but it hasn't been a lot since I've implemented and like really gotten back into blogging again. So that has been good that in a few months it's really doubled.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so awesome to see. What do you think were like the biggest takeaways from like the audit and coaching call that helped you get there?
Yeah, the one thing I was thinking about this last night, the one thing that I feel like helped the most was honestly like obviously the audit overall, but the checklist that you gave me of like it was like a million pages, it felt like, of just like things to like do, which was so helpful. I'm such a list person and like marking
Same.
things off. And I felt like I was overwhelmed with like I knew I needed to do a lot of work, but I didn't have like a system or like even just like to break it down into small bites of like, okay, today I can check off like three things on my blog of like how to fix the back end or whatever it is. So I feel like that was the first thing is the list that just like gave me things to do versus like sitting here and spinning my wheels and then just feeling like overwhelmed and not actually doing anything. It made it really easy to like give me like action items to go do that if I had, an hour after work, I'd be like, okay, well, I can like open this and check off like two things really quickly. So I feel like that was the first thing. And then getting a handle on and understanding more of the back end of everything. I had like a million plugins, I felt like that weren't actually like doing anything or like making my website slow and clunky. And that I feel like once we talked, you gave me really good direction of like, this is what you need, like, this is what you need to change, and like, then just delete a bunch of other things. And that really helped, like, one, my speed, but also it felt less overwhelming. And a lot of the plugins you recommended were free, which was great. What I felt like I was like paying for so many different plugins that weren't like doing anything. So it saved me money, but also it like really helped just like declutter the back end
Yeah.
of my blog, which was super helpful. And the last thing I just had in my head and totally forgot.
It's okay.
Um, oh, what was it? Oh, my homepage. I feel like you helped me like revamp my homepage, which has been really helpful and like giving me the confidence to like actually go in and like change things versus like I would do it and like get it set and not want to touch anything because I was afraid I was going to break something. So like now I go in like seasonally and change everything and like can go in and I put like an email subscriber thing in there and like just like different things to like help the user experience and also just kind of like organize my blog. I felt like it was kind of a little bit of a mess because I didn't really know. It was just kind of like all my thoughts like on one page that
Yeah.
wasn't super useful.
Yeah, I know. I helped you make some of those like block layouts on your homepage with like
Yeah,
the
which I
kind of
didn't know was
custom
a
look a
thing.
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it didn't, and I didn't know like how to do any of that. So that was super helpful just to like make it like my own blog, but also
Mhm.
like now I understand like how to do all of that so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how it looks and I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So I'm always happy to
Yeah,
help with
well,
that.
you're good at it, so that's good.
We kind of talked about this, but what's different for you now, like business wise and personally?
Yeah, I feel like besides like everything I've said, I feel like I have the confidence on my blog now that I just honestly didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I like kind of knew what I was doing, and after talking to you, like I feel like I actually know what I'm doing on my blog and like have I feel like it opened up like a lot more mental space because understand what I'm doing on my blog, but also like I it like works so much better now than it was before. And I feel like that has allowed me to be able to like actually make recipes more. Because before I was like so wrapped up in like, is my blog actually working, or like what do I need to get done on the back end? And like wasn't actually taking the time to cook anything, which is the whole point of the blog. So I feel like it opened up a lot of more like mental space for me just to like be able to actually cook and like have fun blogging again, which was, I used to dread writing blog posts. And now I feel like because I never knew like what I was doing exactly, or like the flow. And I think you helped me create like a template for everything. So that helped like it really just is like a plug and play kind of thing now for me, which is much better because I used to just sit for like hours and spin my wheels on what to write because I'm not a very good writer, even though I
Same.
really like blogging. I'm a terrible writer. So like it takes forever for like the creative juices to start flowing. But now that I have
Mhm.
like a template and like a format that I'm following, I feel like it comes so much easier. And like I know I just need to write like a little bit. I don't need to write like a million pages on a description for a recipe.
Yeah, just the helpful information.
Yes.
Definitely. Awesome. What are the like top lessons that you learned that you wish other food bloggers would know?
Um, I would say that simplifying the back end of everything and like your processes will make life much easier. Like I said, I had like a million plugins that I really just like would read about and be like, oh, I think that sounds good, and like add it to my blog. And then I had like a million of them that weren't actually like doing anything. Like I said, I was paying for a lot of plugins that weren't really doing anything. And like really only having like useful plugins and like same with like blog posts, like useful content for people. And same with like the homepage, having just like everything that like people would want, or like that you want to showcase on your homepage versus like making it super cluttery and like hard to find things, and like making your menu more simple. So I think for me, like the theme of the whole thing was like really simplifying and like getting to know the back end of everything really helped me, I think, and made it a lot easier.
Yeah, it's like a less is more kind of thing.
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
not what I was doing.
Yeah, it's hard to know like what you need and what you don't, like what things actually do. Like things are so confusing sometimes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like taking medicine. Like you take one and then you have like side effects for another thing, and like it's like
Hmm.
a cycle. I feel like
Yeah.
obviously I'm from the health world, so that like sense to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was the same with plugins. Like all of a sudden you would have one and then, or I would have one and then need something for something else, that it was like making it super slow. So then I would do something else, and it was just like a cycle of like way too many things.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor. I like that. I'm also from like bio background, so
Yeah, yeah, that's
I can see
okay. I remember
that.
that.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then, do you have any advice for people who are interested in or hesitant about doing an audit or coaching?
I would say the biggest thing is just do it. I feel like I was super nervous because, like I said, I had taken courses before that weren't really useful, and I feel like I wasted a ton of money doing. And then I didn't really like implement anything, or like I didn't get a ton out of it. And I feel like your audit, like it gave me such it like a ton of action steps, but they were like simple action steps at a time to do. And the videos that you gave me, like not only the audit, but like the after with like explanations of how to do certain things were super helpful and made me realize like things shouldn't take as long as I was making them. And so that like it was like I would watch your video and they'd be like 5 minutes long, and then I could do it in 5 minutes, and just like that kept I felt like that was with everything. So I would say really like dive in and actually do the audit, because it was like one of the most helpful things that I've ever done for my blog. Um, and I like it really just it kept me blogging. I feel like because like I said, I was burning the candle at both ends trying to do it and work and all of that. So it really helped me like get back into blogging and continue doing it. Um, and like you were so easy to talk to and like so knowledgeable on blogging, which was, I feel like that was very apparent right off the bat, where previously, it was like hard to understand what was going on. And I feel like you just made it super simple. And it was, like, it's a lot of money, but it also was like, I feel like I've gotten the return on it so much quicker than I even like could attempt to with other courses. So that was really, that made me feel a lot better about like, okay, like I first trusted you and then like obviously I paid you, but then I felt like I got the return on it. Not necessarily monetarily wise, I would love to monetize my blog, sooner rather than later, but that I feel like that made me one step closer, or like a million steps closer to
Yeah,
actually doing that, where I wasn't doing anything before. Like I was never gonna be able to monetize it.
that really means a lot to me. I'm glad that I
Yeah.
was able to help. Like, I'm seriously honored that you put your trust in me and like actually did the audit. And yeah, that, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that just like your email course, like, or email subscription, like that's super helpful. I feel like everything you put out is like super helpful. I was just telling my husband the other day, like, I have like all of your emails saved in like one spot, and I just like will randomly go through like five at a time or whatever and make sure like I've done everything, even if I don't have time to read it. I just like store them away because I feel like you just have such useful content that a lot of people don't have.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the truth. I tell everyone, I'm like, if you're blogging, you need to follow her. Even if you like don't do anything, like just follow her, and like her email list is like crucial.
Oh, that means a lot. Yeah, I love doing them. I think it's been over a year now, almost 2 years. I think quarter 1 next year, maybe. But yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm surprised I haven't run out of things yet.
Well, it's always changing, so I feel like you'll
Yeah,
never run out.
definitely. Yeah. Oh, and then is there like a certain level of food blogger that you think would benefit most from doing like an audit or a coaching call?
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like everyone could, but I feel like you kind of have to understand, like you helped me understand everything so much more, but like having a little bit of a grip on like what you're doing on blogging. So not like super beginner, like not helping build their blog, but also like, beginner-ish on, I would
Yeah.
say, of like really, I feel like anyone could benefit from your tips. But you kind of have to know like about your blog a little bit. Like I feel
Mhm.
like I didn't know, I was clueless on a lot, but I like knew what I was doing a little bit in there.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe like a, I don't know, 20 or so blog posts, like have something
Yeah.
to actually look at and
Yeah.
give feedback on.
Yeah. And a good like foundation of that they can actually like build on, I feel like,
Mhm.
instead of obviously not starting from scratch, but that good foundation to like that you can fix things, but it's also not like too late to fix everything. That's always my worst. That was my worst fear, is like having like 500 blog posts and like have
Yeah.
done all of them wrong.
Yeah. I know it's better to like, oh, I don't know what the saying is, but it's like you gotta fix it before it grows into like a bigger fire.
Yes, because that's where mine was going.
I know that's how I felt in the beginning of mine too.
That's funny. It's hard to know just like what's going on at first, but
Yeah.
like having a little bit of a grip on it, and then you gave me like so much more direction on like, okay, now go back and fix everything that you've
Mhm.
created a mess on.
Yeah, so do you feel like you kind of mostly did updates after the audit, or have you done a lot of new content too?
I've done both. I've been trying to do like 4 updates a month, 4 blog post updates a month, and then like 3 or 4 new recipes a month. But I do think like getting a system in place was crucial for me, and like the template of everything, because it doesn't take me as long to like go through blog posts. I think I did one in like an hour and a half last night, which was like a record for me. I
That's
had done
amazing.
like the keyword research ahead of time, but like actually writing it, and it used to take me like 4 hours to like sit there and like figure out what I wanted to say. So I feel like
Yeah.
I've gotten so much quicker at it, and I have like the template, but I know where things are going on my blog. Like I felt like you also helped me like identify like the pieces that were missing a little bit. Like I had a ton of, I feel like I have a ton of like chicken recipes, and that was like, or maybe it was Whole30. I don't remember what it was, but it was something you were like, you have like a ton of this content, like either break it up or like move to something else that can be like you've written like a million recipes on this one already, like move on.
Yeah, kind of just making it easier for your users to find things and navigate the
Yeah,
blog.
and that was super helpful.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
I
It's
don't
okay if
know.
there isn't.
I don't think so. I really have enjoyed and appreciated all your help. I feel like I message you once a week of like, am I doing like, did I miss something or like, how do I do something? And it's like, I coach too, so I don't want to like ever bother you, but I feel like you are so responsive to like, here's like something really quick that you can do or like something like that. So been, I just really appreciated that because I've also had clients that message me constantly and I'm like, please stop it. So I hope I'm
No,
not that, but
no, you're not.
it's you've
It's
been
totally
such a
reasonable.
a great resource to me of just like,
Good,
little questions down the line. And I was thinking I need to sign up for something else of yours soon, just to like keep the momentum. But I feel like I'm getting the hang of it for
good.
like this quarter. And then when I stall out again eventually and not too long, I'm sure I'm gonna be like, okay, I need help again.
Well, I'm always here.
Yeah, definitely. Your group, I have been wanting to do your group as well. I just needed to get a handle on my life first.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hoping to kick that off in January or February. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm excited.
That's exciting.
Still
And
planning, but
yeah, I'm sure that'll be super helpful because everything, yeah, everything you've done, you and the resources that you've sent me of just like I was looking at it last night, like who the people or the person that does your Pinterest, like you shared that, and like here's someone else that does Pinterest because I have been wanting to tackle Pinterest again, but
mhm.
with all the time on my hand, I
Yeah,
haven't
there's so
done
much to
that.
do.
Yeah, so I was just like looking back through that of like, okay, when's the right time to like hire someone to do my Pinterest and to really help continue growing and things like that. So your resources just have been super helpful.
Good. And you're on Journey, right?
Yes.
How's that been going?
Yeah, that I should have added that. That I accepted a journey. It's been going really good. Was I don't know what I did on my own. I was trying to get it set up and it wasn't working. So I was very frustrated. But then I reached out to my host and they helped me
Good.
do everything. So that was, and then from once I got it figured out whatever I was doing wrong, it's been super easy. And I feel like that's really been helpful for my motivation. Obviously, I'm not making a ton of money on it. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd love to leave my job eventually, but not doing that. So, but just like being able to see like some income coming in and like seeing it grow in different places and just like knowing that that's an option. And like, I felt like it was like pre-media buying, which is a good step just
Yeah,
for
definitely.
mentally a good step.
Yeah, that's a good motivator.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Yeah.
This was really helpful, and I'm so glad that everything was helpful for you.
Yeah. It seriously, it was. I cannot sing your praises enough because it has been, I feel like it
Like literally
changed.
blushing.
Well, it has like changed my blogging because I was, I was lost on what I was doing.
Yeah, it's awesome to see the progress you're making, and I'm just very excited for you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's good because I was getting very burnt out on it.
Yeah, yeah, I can tell that like you seem to really enjoy it a lot more, and like showing up on your stories and like seeing what you're doing is always fun.
Yeah, that's another thing I need to work on getting back to is my Instagram, which I feel like I don't know if you told me this, but just like setting Instagram aside has been so helpful. Just like I am on there a little bit, but not
Mhm.
nearly as much as I was. And I
Yeah.
think in September I hardly posted at all, but I just was like focused on like my blog, which is getting me much further than what Instagram was doing.
Yeah, I don't really get much traffic from Instagram, so I feel like it's better to focus on the blog first and then move on to that once you're in a good place.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like posting like new recipes and then moving on from there because it's easy to get sucked into Instagram and being like, okay, well, I'm not
Mhm.
getting any traffic, I'm not getting any followers. Like I feel like it's just like spinning your wheels on there and just setting that aside has
Yeah.
really like
Yeah.
one, I have way more time because I don't sit on Instagram for like 5 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like unless your goal is to be an influencer or something, like it makes more sense to focus on the vlog side and then
Totally. Yeah,
use
that
Instagram and social kind of as like a promotion of your blog.
right. That and email, which I
Mhm.
and my goal is to get back to this month because
Yeah.
I was good for a while and then with everything, the wedding, I was like, I cannot do this one more, one
Yeah.
more week. So I just like, I feel like I just set everything aside for a couple months, which also was really good for me just to like get a
Hmm.
break and then get back into doing blogging a lot
Yeah.
more.
That's a good thing about vlogging is like you can set it aside for a little while and it'll still be there when you get back.
Right, right.
Mhm.